Welcome to the Seeking of the Light of 1,000 Suns podcast. In today's episode, we delve into our final part of our 3-part series in the fascinating realm of our crystal healing. Whether you're a seasoned crystal enthusiast or a newcomer to this mystical world, join us on a journey toward a deeper understanding of harnessing the power of crystals. Hi, Maya.
Hi, Gia. What would you like to talk about today?
Ooh, crystals and meditation, please.
We've had some fun times with that. I mean,
Yes.
that's been some fun times. So, and crystals have so many uses, so many different uses, whether it be healing the physical, the mental, the spiritual, bringing things in, letting things go. But with meditation, it can be so much fun as well. Do you remember that time when you and I had that pyramid crystal? I can't remember what it was
Lumerian.
called.
Lumerian.
No, I'm thinking of the apophyllite or something like that.
Yes, it was apophyllite, because I always get the two mixed up.
So I think that's what it was called. We had purchased it for the fun. We purchased it for the fun, like healing meditative properties of it. It was a stone that was to help you with the connecting with the spiritual realm. I'm looking it up just to make sure that's what it was, because I don't want to mislead or anything like that. But yes, that's what it was. Clear apophyllite. Yep. So the stone properties were to help you connect with the different realms, the spiritual realms. And we decided that for fun, we would sit down on the floor with the stone and we'd both meditate at the same time and then share the experiences afterward. Do you remember that?
I do. But I like it when you tell the story.
So a lot of the times when we experiment with things, we do it separately or together separately and then share our experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the meditation was to place yourself into the center of the stone. Well, I generally have a very, very hard time with visualizations, but I took the journey walking my energy to the center of the stone and we meditated and we came back to share notes. And both of us had experiences that were very, very similar, which made it really fun to talk about. And I remember saying, boy, when I got to the center of the stone, it was really odd that it was kind of dark and kind of gray and
I know where this is going sometimes.
I think we brought it up in a previous episode at some point too, I think.
We did.
And it's kind of jagged or rigid, kind of like, cut stone in rock jagged. And anyway, we shared our experiences and then we went to look for the stone so we could look at it again from the outside and kind of get the feelings from it, outside of meditative state. And I'm like, hey, let me see that stone, or vice versa. I can't remember, but and it turned out I thought you had it. No, I thought you had it. I don't have it. Well, I don't have it. Well, where did it go? Now, we both know that stones sometimes have a tendency to disappear.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's not usually that quickly. It's not usually, it's usually after a lot of working with it that it'll disappear and then reappear. So we're looking around us like, what the heck? And lo and behold, my gray cat was laying on the stone. And we had the biggest laugh about it because it explained a lot of the experience of being inside the stone. We were seeing the gray cat, and these
laying on it.
The cat hair was the ridges and such that we were seeing, and we had a good laugh about that. But
little stone junkie.
Yes, I miss her. She was so good in ritual and so good with magic and tarot and stones, and so that was fun. And in this scenario, we had chosen it based on interest and intention.
Yep.
But there are many other ways to choose and to meditate with crystals. Do you have anything you would like to share a story or elaborate on?
Well, I definitely would want to say, okay, so yes, there's, like you had said, we chose it based off of intention. There's also the intuition side. So I've done this before. I'm kind of a stone junkie too, I'll have to say, to admit. I really am. And I love placing them on a chakra, especially I love like placing it on my third eye chakra or on my throat chakra just to, see what comes about. It's kind of my way of, I guess, in experimenting and learning about the world, right? But then also kind of similar to what I do with like herbs, right? Where I will try different things with herbs, it's very potion-like, right? If I blow something up, I blow something up by accident. Shit happens. But then, I've learned from it, right? So I like to do that too with these. But, it's nice to be able to choose a stone with your intuition, especially when, if there's just something that you might need in that moment when you go into your meditative space. Maybe you're like, I don't know what to really focus on, or when I'm in my meditative space, I just want to go in there and I just want to meditate, and whatever comes, right? If it's your intention to meditate in such a way. If you just want to, if you're just meditating just to basically center your mind, you can still use stones for that too. But I guess kind of similar would be, ever since that experience you and I had, I like to sometimes take my stones and try to do the same thing. Like I'll lay down, I'll put it in the third eye, start my meditation with focusing on the stone, right? Kind of the same way, right? You're drawing yourself into that stone and trying to understand. But sometimes I like to try to see myself from the stone's view, which is not easy to do at first. But with practice, it's quite intriguing, because how we've already discussed about how each stone has different properties and vibrations and energies, all this information that we've gone over. Well, I look at it as, okay, there might be a perspective of me that the stone might sense that is like a message that I need to hear or see that can help me in my healing journey. I know that's kind of kicking it up a couple notches, but
no, not really, because if you think about choosing a stone based only on intuition and just meditating with it with an open mind and just as a lesson with the stone, they'll tell you and teach you a lot, even if you're not completely familiar with the properties of the stone. If you quietly meditate with something that you picked intuitively, you might get feelings or sensations on the properties of the stone that are needed or important to you without even knowing,
Yes,
book-wise, what they are.
and then this is kind of helping too to kind of hone in a little bit in that as well, right? Where when I'm meditating, kind of like you and I did, I want, instead of centering myself to be inside of the stone, it's more so I want to see myself from the perspective of that stone. So if I've picked up, for instance, a rose quartz, we know rose quartz is predominantly used for self-healing, self-love. And if I meditate and I place this on my third eye chakra so that, it helps me to see in that spiritual psychic sense, right? But I want to see what the stone sees about me, because then I can detect too from there. It's kind of like a reverse communication thing, right? Where I can detect from there if the stone sees, all right, it's rose quartz. Gia, it looks like, if I see that the stone sees that I'm seeing myself as too overweight, and I'm seeing this in my visual of my meditation, then I've realized that that's an area where I need to work on. Is, okay, yes, I do need to work out, but I need to stop seeing myself in a negative light. And the stone has showed me that. Does that make sense? It's a little bizarre, but I'm weird.
It sounds like you're mirroring you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds to me like you're combining your energy within the stone and then mirroring what you need from it.
Quite possibly.
It makes me think of like a meditation where there's this really cool meditation that I did once where you go to like a pool of knowledge and it's a reflective pool. And you lean over and you look into the water at yourself. Right? And when you get the reflection, you're seeing your true self, which then communicates to you what you're negating of yourself.
Yes. Very
Does that
similar
make
to that.
sense?
That makes sense. Absolutely.
Okay.
You explained it a lot better than I did.
I think the difference is that you're actually intermingling the energy of the stone versus using like a mirrored reflection.
Well, yes, because it depending upon the property, right? So if I'm having, for instance, a tough time, whether it's like I'm fatigued or I just had a really bad time that week, my energies are low, I can utilize, for instance, a hematite, right? Which we know is a predominantly protection stone. And I can ask it the question, what do you see as me lacking in areas or areas I can fix when it comes to protection? And then seeing those areas where maybe I don't have enough protection around myself from that stone. So really when I'm doing this, it's both intention but also intuition, right? I guess be a mixture. Might be going completely off base here, or just throwing us down a rabbit hole. But really, my intention is to heal some kind of aspect that I need, or to get some kind of answer to something that I just feel like I am not understanding from the universe, right? And then picking the stone, whether intentionally by knowing, hey, hematite is protection or this stone's that, or even you can use the intuition method, right?
Because generally your intuition will tell you what you need without you even reading the properties of the stone itself.
And you know, and when you know enough of these stones too, I mean, you sometimes it's even easier to close your eyes and be like, okay, I'm gonna have to close my eyes now because I already know what these stones are, you know, and I might be biased and I might just be picking something because I want to. Or you can pick something because you want to, like I've done with the rose quartz and the hematite examples. And from there, then you're basically, you know, open your eyes, look at the stone. If you know what the stone is, you can amplify that energies by knowing that, hey, this stone's a stone of protection. This stone's a stone of money, yada, 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 right? And then focus on that, what you're meditating on, that you're trying to receive, focusing it in. And I like to, like I said, like sometimes project it into the stone in a way of asking the stone to show me what it sees about me, especially since I am so visual.
I used to really like going into crystal shops and standing where all of the stones are at and then just using intuition slightly by speaking the question, what stone do I really need in my life right now? And then pick the stone based on that question. And every single time I would come home with a stone and then I would read up on it and I'd be like, oh my goodness, really? And when I say used to, because now I have such a large collection of stones, I can do that with my own collection. And that's why I say used to. The method is still something that I will use when I'm healing with other people. I will, you know, ask what stone they truly need right now. Yep. Of course, also the ones that they tell me that they need, but sometimes it's really powerful when somebody is not acknowledging what they need and you ask your large selection of stones, what does this person really need right now? And you put that in as well.
Exactly. I like that.
So when you meditate with your crystals, would you say that a majority of the time you are using your third eye or a chakra when you're meditating with crystals?
Yeah, the majority of the time I think I do. I mean, there's, you know, the rest of the time, it really depends. So, for example, I sprained my LCL recently on my right leg. So doing like a healing meditation, I put the stones on that part of my leg. I'll like slip them in underneath the wrap so it holds them in place. And then I go into my meditation, focusing in on that area. But I would say yes, the majority of the times I am utilizing a chakra now, or my hands, my receiving.
Hands are very powerful as well.
I like using the third eye because I'm very, very visual. Sometimes I like to mix it up though, because depending upon what it is that I need, or maybe where I've got some questions, it might amplify it more if I put it in the proper chakra that is associated with those questions. Occasionally, I've used the throat chakra because it is a, communication chakra. When I feel like I am stumbling a lot more in my communications, or even if someone has asked me a question in regards to communications, because then I can allow my higher self voice to speak out and be amplified in my meditation to myself.
There are a lot of people that will put crystals on their tarot cloth to help with clarity or to help with clear messages or like precision in the readings. Like, for example, when I do a tarot layout and I lay my tarot cloth down, I will use a large chunk of just clear quartz. There's also for communication purposes and things like that, people will, like when you're speaking about your throat chakra, they'll wear like jewelry. The word like crystal beads or crystal jewelry around the area of their throat chakra as well. And as far as like communicating with our beloved dead, that's something that we can touch a lot more on future episodes. But I like how you brought up using a specific place of your body, a specific chakra, and specific properties involving the stone itself.
And then when we're going into the chakras, you can start to once we'll go into the chakra systems and we'll talk about those. You'll understand too, and you can do some digging and researching on your own, how each chakra actually has different energy properties to it. And so when you're using crystal healing, it's good to put in your toolbox and know your chakras, know what those properties are. If you want to draw yourself or vision yourself like a tree, right? Because you want to stay rooted in the ground at all times, even during a meditation. You need to have your roots into the earth. When you're doing this, we actually, Maya, if you want to go into, I guess this might even segue into preparing that meditation space as well.
Yeah, preparing your meditation space is more than just preparing your room. Preparing your room, making sure that you're not going to have distractions, you're not going to have sounds or interruptions, or that you feel safe, that you feel comfortable, that's a place that you can relax. But there's also other things that you can do to better or deepen the meditative experience. A lot of times that would be like starting with a rhythmic breathing right from the gate. However you want to do that, rhythmic breathing is going to be, specific to you. We're all going to have our different rhythms. Sometimes having a rhythmic or relaxing or nature type sound going in the background. Or some people will even use guided meditations because it keeps them focused and on track, hearing the meditation being guided. If you're a visual person, then you would incorporate visualizations in. If you're following guided, a lot of the times that'll be in there. Other things that can deepen your relaxation or your meditative experience would be an aromatherapy of some kind, whether it be oils or incense or candles or whatever. Something that helps you feel grounded, relaxed, or, gives you a good feeling. A good go-to if you don't have a selection or you don't have something in mind to start with would be lavender is a good one. Or some,
Patchouli.
I was just going to say some earthy type, patchouli, cedarwood, sandalwood, whatever it is that's going to help you find a relaxed state enough to let go of the mundane daily stuff, to not be having your brain cycling around bills and schedules and that kind of thing. So preparing your space is pretty important for being able to meditate, and especially if you're wanting to connect with crystal energies, whether an intention based or not. Connecting with the crystal energies really is so much better when you're in a mindfulness state. And what might help you be there would be having a sound or something in the background.
I think that meditation, I've been told more often by people that they find it very difficult to get into a meditative state. And taking a lot of what you said, Maya, really helps to do that. So you don't have to do so much of the work all by yourself. It also, one of the things that I wanted to add to this is the ritual or the habit thereof. And when it comes to the ritual or the habit thereof, you want to think about everything we do in life is in some way, shape, or not everything, but most things we do in life is in some way, shape, or form a habit. You should develop the habit of preparing your meditative space, doing your meditative breathing, grounding yourself, coming out of the meditative state, making sure that you replenish your body with what it needs, and then closing down your meditative space, right? Well, the more you do it and you make a time for it, even if it's like if you could only afford 15 minutes or 20 minutes once a week, do it on the same day, same time, or around the same time every single week, and you will develop the habit for it. And it won't have to become such a big thing. And you'll find that once you develop that habit, or even maybe before it, that repetition of it will bring you into deeper meditative states to allow you to gain all the benefits you can from it. If you're just doing it the first time and you're like, this isn't working for me, you need to give it more time to work.
It takes a while to get into the rhythm of being open enough for the information to come in.
Exactly.
And sometimes people are so focused on the details, right? Like,
yes,
start with 5 minutes instead of worrying about the details, unless you're doing guided, of course, that, you might find 5-minute ones on Insight Timer.
Or even there's also Aura. I love the Aura app.
That's right. I
Love
forgot about that one.
that one. Because, yeah, there's like 3-minute ones on there. It's great.
But just starting out, though, you don't want to set yourself up to believe you failed, because
Mhm.
you're not going to continue with it. So
Yeah.
start small, a couple minutes at a time, and kind of build it up a little bit, and don't have any expectations. Just have the expectation of lying with the stone and being open to whatever you receive.
Mhm.
As you do this, and as you connect with their energies more and more, and it doesn't even have to be just through meditation, it can be a lot of ways that you connect with their energies, even if, using a crystal on your tarot, your tarot cloth, or using it as your pendulum. Like, I use a crystal for my pendulum.
Same.
Anytime that you're continually, working with or using them, you're gonna start to not just remember associations, because of course that is going to, practice makes perfect kind of thing. Well, it
Mhm.
doesn't make perfect, but you know what I mean. Like, you
Yeah.
use the same stone enough, you're going to start remembering their properties and things. But you'll get to a point where you will get communications from the stones without knowing those
Yep.
things.
And to add to that, I mean, put one in your pocket. Carry one in your pocket. Put one in a little baggie or one of those little necklace bags that you can just put around your neck. I always call them medicine bags. Um, put one in your purse. Put one in your car. And like Maya's saying, the more you can connect with them, the more you bring them into your life, the more those connections are going to happen.
And I think, if I remember back to when I first started, I can't remember which book I had started with, if it was the Crystal Bible or if it was something else, but I know that one of the things that they had mentioned was basically like just paying attention for a few minutes, kind of like we talked about, a 3 or 5 minute meditation
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing, just concentrating on how it makes you feel. How does it feel in your hand? How does it feel where you place it? Is it cold? Is it warm? Do you tingle? Do you feel a wave? Do you get goosebumps? Like, just kind of with just doing that a few times, even just trying to feel an impression. Does the stone have a memory of something? Do you have visualization pop up that you didn't expect? Did you have a chill? Did you have your hair stand up? Did you have, and that is a good way to not have an expectation and not have to be in hard meditation too.
Exactly. So let's take this back over to the chakras, doing the crystal healing with the chakras.
And I'm going to pull up a screenshot here. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so when we're talking about our chakras or chakras, okay, so we've got the diagram that Maya's got up for us. Okay, so there are the 7 main energy points in your body, as you can see here, just like it says, that run down the spine. And you can see at the top, you've got your crown, you got your third eye, your throat, your heart, your solar, your sacral, and your root system. Now, these are energy points. And as we were saying before, so these different points actually have different properties in a way, types of energies that they focus on, and that you'll want to focus on if you're wanting to use your crystals to do chakra healing. Okay, so your crown, this is where that high energy knowledge from the universe comes. Your higher self is up here in your crown. Okay, your root system, this is where you are connected to this earthly realm. There's a lot that the root system, there's actually different body parts associated with each of these. So for instance, this is just an example, but if you're having a bladder infection, you're going to want to do your chakra healing crystal work in the root chakra area. Now, it doesn't mean you have to stick it on your reproductive part, or don't stick it in it, please. But you'll want to put it kind of in that area. So if you're sitting, you can actually put the stone kind of in front of that area. Well, like for instance, this is a diagram of an individual sitting. You could put the stone in that empty space that's in between your legs, and it'll still draw energy into your root system. Now, your chakras are not just in the front of your body. Okay,
They
it's
run
all
down
the way
the center.
through.
Yeah, they run
Yes.
down the center. I also want to point out a lot of diagrams will show you seated so that you can see that it runs down through your center. But you can do crystal healing in other positions, and I actually recommend doing it lying down just for placement of the stones is so much easier, focus is easier, relaxation is easier. Right. So what I'd like to point out is the color associations. If you don't know a stone to pick, for example, for these, you can choose them by the color associations. Let's say you want to work on gastrointestinal issues. Let's just throw that out as an example. You have digestion issues or slow transit issues or things that have to do with your gastrointestinal system or stomach. You would use the sacral chakra area. That's the area within your stomach. And you'd pick a stone in the orange color category. So if you look into stones like orange calcite or carnelian or
carnelian,
right, some of those orange stones, you will find in a lot of literature that they're associated with that chakra and have properties with those issues, and then you can fine tune it from there. So I do a lot of healing for people with this system. If you do not have a stone collection where you have all of these colors, that's okay. I got you. Clear quartz is a good substitute for any color stone. Clear quartz is also good as an amplifier stone. So what I mean by amplifier is if you need a oomph in your gastrointestinal orange stone, you can put a clear quartz alongside it and give it an extra power source. But you can also work in these healing centers of your body by just doing a visualization of these in their spaces in your place, in your body, and the colors. So most of the practices will start with the root because it's usually the grounding, or the bottoms of your feet can be grounding as well. And you start by imagining in your center genital area a globe or a sphere or, glowing ball of red. And then you work your way up all the way through to the top. And a lot of them will say that you can grow or shrink them, because once you start visualizing, you'll see that some are either brighter or smaller than others. You can balance them and make them all the same size or the same vibrancy. And I also want to point out that when you complete this, they don't have to be like closed down.
Yes.
And if you do want to close one down for some reason, let's say you have too much activity in your third eye or too much activity in your crown, you can picture it much, much smaller than the others. Or you can even picture like pulling a garage door or a storage door down or something like that over the top of it and just selectively closing it off until you want to reopen it. I don't recommend that technique because sometimes doing that will throw off the balance of all others, but it is a technique that is available. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, I think you described it really well. I mean, I guess I could add like the dial effect, right? If you think about like um, like a radio, circular radio dial, right? Um, you could think about like moving your chakras to the right will make them grow. Moving them to the left will make them shrink. You can kind of play with those too. Really, at the end of the day, I mean, personally, I prefer after I'm doing my chakra working to end the working by putting them all at the same level again. That's just me.
I would like to say too that if you have aphantasia and you're not able to do visualizations,
Yes.
other things that you can do. You can feel those areas of your body and try to feel, like for me, I try to feel for a pulsing sensation. So I'll close my eyes and I will sit with myself and I will think about my genital area. I'll think about my navel area. I'll think about my, um, just, below my heart. And I will try to sense, I used to do a spinning sensation and that didn't sit so well with me. That's one way, but I will feel for a pulsing, kind of like a heartbeat.
Yep.
And some of them will feel stronger than others. Some of them you won't be able to feel at all. Some of them you will. And then you would base your balancing off of that. So that's just an idea for if someone that is unable to visualize, there are other techniques. Does it feel warm? Does it feel cold? Is it spinning? Does it pulsate? I purposefully pick pulsate because for me, there's no misunderstanding the sensation. I don't then second guess myself for what I felt or did I really feel a spinning or, not? Did I really feel it? So I that's the way I started with myself. And because this is such a large topic, we will do a podcast extra with a very brief 101. And we'll also have a class available at a later date to get more in depth in stones and the chakras, because there are more than 7. And I really think that the 2 others that really should be in these diagrams or within the major points are the palms and the bottoms of the feet.
Yes. Those are huge. Yeah, I also really want to stress this, and I know that we've stressed this before, but Maya, I mean, I love that you've brought this up, and we need to keep bringing this up. Where for me personally, I'm a ridiculously visual person. I have a photographic memory, which is both a blessing and a curse. A lot of people are visual, but there are a lot of people who are not visual. And this is definitely a safe place to get information. If you would like more information, Maya can give you just a plethora of information on how to do these things that we discuss in the podcast episodes without the visual self.
Right.
I think that's so huge. It's so huge.
Right, because there's a plethora of
Yeah,
literature and resources out there for the visual person.
exactly.
And for someone that is not visual, it's very discouraging because you think, well, there's something wrong with you, or you think that you're not doing it well enough, or you think that you just can't do it. And that's not true. There's so many other senses to your body that can be just as good as the teachings of visualization.
And it's huge too, because when you go back into the meditation topic that we discussed, when you're doing your meditations and you've done several of them, and you're like, I don't ever get a vision from my meditations. Change your course. Stop trying to get a visual.
That's right.
Start seeing if you can get a sound,
A feeling,
a smell,
an idea,
a taste.
a lot of times it will be, for me, it will come as like an idea, but not from myself. Almost like a download, kind of like somebody just went and dropped it there. That knowing without knowing, if you will.
Absolutely. Had a few of those. It's like, whoo, I needed that one.
And there's also a lot of ways to, I can't begin to tell you how many times that I hear meditations about walking through a clearing or walking through a forest, okay? See the trees, see the path, see this, feel this, blah, blah, blah. I didn't mean that. Sorry. But what I would do is, with my eyes closed, is I would feel my body taking those footsteps. I would feel my fingertips touching the tops of the lush wildflowers or grass or whatever. I would feel the air difference as I entered the cave. Like, so I would hear the birds, but not see them. So there's, don't think that meditation is cookie cutter, and that if it isn't happening for you the way that it happens for someone else, that it's wrong, you're not doing it right, or that you're dysfunctional or whatever. It's just that you haven't been shown what works for you. Don't give up. I love the guided myself, even though I can't picture, because what ends up happening to me somehow, and I think it might even be based on sound vibration, to be honest. I'm not really sure, but that's the only thing that I can think of that makes sense. Because I have a tendency to follow energy waves. A lot of the times it's through sound, but through other waves it happens as well. And I would find that when I would do a guided meditation and hear someone talk to me, I would follow the wave of the story. So from the sound that was coming from what I'm hearing, I was following the ride. And then I would find that before I knew it, I was always a step ahead. And I know that sounds like totally Lulu,
no,
right?
It's happened. I know it's happened to me too.
So there's many times where I've already been ahead 2 or 3 steps and have already done what they're about to say. Mm-hmm. So I know I'm doing something correctly. And so I would say what works for you. And your craft and your practice is your own. Mm-hmm. But that said, we're still going to send some resources into our Facebook group. If you're not a part of the Facebook group, you go to Seeking the Light of 1,000 Suns, and when you follow, then I will send an invite to you to the group. These podcast extras will be 101 of the chakras with a little bit of a step-by-step, very simple chakra balancing, some different types of rhythmic breathing techniques, a stone correspondence type chart that has the chakras, colors, elements, and other correspondences. And maybe a couple chakra book links and a couple crystal book links that happen to be faves, because I have a very, very large collection. But the ones that I recommend are the ones that I repeat back to. They've become a regular source of information. It's something that, ends up being kind of like a crystal or, chakra Bible for me. What I'm finding more recently, though, is that some of the materials I have are no longer in print. They're very good materials. They're no longer in print. So sometimes it can't just be an Amazon search. Sometimes it has to be like eBay or, putting it into the Google search and finding a used copy that way. But yes, please like, subscribe, share, and follow Facebook. We're becoming more and more organized and things will be much more streamlined soon as I'm piecing all of the AI, electronic, and software stuff together. So thank you for hanging in here with us. It's definitely been a journey, especially being a newbie. Like, we jumped into this like I took Gia with me. We jumped into the pool, and we're learning as we go. And I'm sure that's already been obvious before this episode, but there's some really cool things that are coming down the pipes.
It's very exciting.
Yes.
We can't reveal anything yet, but it's incredibly exciting, and can't wait.
We'll be revealing soon. Maybe next episode. If not, it will definitely be by the one after. So yes. I would like to thank everybody again for joining us on this journey, for hanging here with us, and for listening. We love you all. Thank you and blessed be.
Lots of love.
And here I stand.